Hello and welcome to the informational guide for the mini CTF. This is just a small recording on just how to host a mini CTF for Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. This is Jeremiah Webb. I am the current lab manager for Embry-Riddle at Lehman Building 131. It is currently, as you can see, February 5th. We're just going to be using this guide today that I've written on how to actually host one of these mini CTFs. And so to proceed, we're just going to continue to scroll down here. Just our table of contents here. We're going to go into our introduction. This kind of guide is supposed to be used in conjunction with this video, so I'd highly encourage using the chapter function within YouTube to jump to where you need to go. So this is our introduction. So first of all, welcome. This is going to be a great guide for those who want to kind of set up their own TCF or just interested in how to do it. So first of all, what is a CTF? A capture the flag or CTF competition is a cybersecurity challenge designed to test our participants' problem-solving skills, and particularly cybersecurity kind of sections of skills. So cryptography, forensics, reverse engineering, for example. Participants or students in our case will solve these challenges to obtain flags and then are submitted for some type of points. And then, of course, why I host this, I personally, when Haskell and I actually hosted this, it was a great kind of learning experience, rewarding experience for those who were participating in it, who created it, and it's strong, and it really does foster a better sense of cybersecurity community. We did a Jeopardy style format, and this is our general summarization of work and timeline. So for the first kind of machine setup, I'm on my current developer machine, so we can confirm. This is just the Embry-Riddle website. Here we go. Oops, sorry about that. So you can see we need any Linux distro. I have VirtualBox, VMware, whatever you need to do that. I'd highly suggest setting that up. We have Python, we have OpenSSL, I have VMware Workstation. You can do this in VirtualBox also. And I'm using NeoVim for my text editor of choice. And if you don't know what AWS CLI v2, please download this documentation. And there will be a section of links on the bottom in the appendix where you'll be able to actually view where this is, how to install it. And just to let you know, this original mini CTF actual infrastructure was hosted on Arch Linux. Just a show. Great. Now we're going to actually implement the cloud AWS setup. This section will essentially serve as the kind of just guide on how to set up a AWS Amazon Web Services EC2 instance that will have Ubuntu 24.04, will be a size, a certain instance size, how to sign into it with a key pair, how to configure the storage for it, associate an elastic IP address, which is essentially a static IP address, and to create a security group or like firewall rules essentially for the instance, and how to sign into it. So without further ado, let's close that out. Let's bring this up. So just some requirements. The user has a valid AWS account. If you do not know how to do this, I'd highly suggest using your student account or even a personal account to just sign up on AWS. Um, any account with administrative privileges or just any privileges to interact with EC2 security groups, elastic block storages, and elastic IP addresses is suitable. But I just highly recommend using just administrative privileges for the account. It just makes it a lot easier. So here I just have my account set up, some of my information filled in. I'll sign in now. I have multi-factor authentication. Okay, great. And so this will be the first thing that you actually visibly see when you sign into the AWS EC2 console. Some things may look different than you. Of course, the cost and usage will look different. The recently visited will look different. These up here will look different. So don't get surprised if it doesn't look exactly like this. Of course, AWS changes their formatting each and every month or so. But you should generally be able to follow this guide without too much trouble, hopefully. And if you do kind of encounter more and more issues, please contact me at this email or Haskell for that matter. So let's proceed. So first we need a EC2 instance. So let's do that first. So I just clicked on my little recently visited here, but you can always just type in EC2. Great. Let me resize. There we go. All right, great. So we click on instances. I already have a virtual machine here, but what we're going to do is just click launch instances. Great. So remember, we're going to use, I'm just going to keep this kind of small here. Let me resize this. Okay, great. So you can see that we've actually selected Ubuntu 24.04. Let's just say CTF test VM for our name. We're going to select Ubuntu 24.04 on x86 64. Yep, that's fine. The only thing that this refers to is you can just, I mean, realistically, you can put this on any like Linux virtual machine if you want. You can even do Amazon Linux or Ubuntu, Red Hat, SUSE, Linux, Debian, whatever you're most comfortable with. But I'm personally most comfortable with Ubuntu Server 24.04. For our instance type, we had about 30 to 25 players, 25 to 30 players join our mini CTF. And T2.xlarge, I think, was about the perfect size for this. And keep in mind that these Linux-based prices right here that you see may vary. So right now it is 18/56 of a cent. And then we're going to have to create a key pair. So generate a key pair, which we're going to use for SSH. Right now you can see that I already have a key pair here. You may have a key pair in your account, you may not. And if you don't know what that key pair is, then just ignore it. Let's just create a new key pair. And we're going to name it test VM key pair AWS. Let's just try that. And since we're on a Linux machine, for all intents and purposes, we can use the PEM format with an open SSH. And so what's going to happen is we're going to install it. We're going to create key pair. It's going to ask us to download it, and I'm just going to download it in my downloads folder. Great. And then we're also going to create a completely new security group. We're going to keep everything on default, except if we press edit, We're going to add a security group. We're going to select the source type from anywhere, so anywhere can access it. And then we're going to just leave this like this. And then for configure storage, we're going to select 45 gigabytes. This should be more than enough. And you can always increase this if you need to later on. For any of these advanced details, ignore this. We're going to launch that instance. Great. Let's check our list, and we can see that it's running. Looks good. So now we need to associate an elastic IP address to set a static IP address to this instance. We're going to scroll down to our left here and click Elastic IP. Right now I already have an elastic IP address. But what we can do is allocate elastic IP address, select our actual border group or where our origin is. So right now I'm in, as you can see, WebJ31, AWS V1, United States, North Virginia. I'm in US East 1. We're going to allocate. And keep in mind that these actually do cost money. So we're going to rename it. We're going to go back to our instance. We're going to click on our instance ID. We're going to stop our instance. And I find that stopping it makes a lot of the process a lot simpler for later on. Frequently, just stopping and restarting some of these settings on AWS just make the actual instance a lot easier to play with. So far, we've done great. There we go. Let's add our new network. There we go. Oop, there you go. Misclicked that. There we go. Just verifying that our IP addresses are all good. So first we can, there we go. Let's allocate. Come back. So if you don't know how I got there, I went, you could theoretically just go right through here and click Elastic IPs. Or, again, you can go through Actions, Networking, Manage IP Addresses. To assign additional public IP4 address to this instance, you must allocate elastic IP addresses and associate them right here. Because what happens is if you shut down your EC2 instance and you actually turn it on again, the IP address, the public IP address will change. So to avoid that, we're going to set an elastic IP address. Associate elastic IP address. We're going to select an instance, CTF test VM. We're going to keep this off. We're just going to attach it to the instance. All right, it's done. Let's start our IP address. Or excuse me, let's start our instance. All right, it's running already. That was quick. So now what I need you to do is click and create somehow a shell. Let's log into our actual system now. So the SSH command will be SSH-I, the key pair. And again, I highly recommend downloading the guide to guide you through this. Ubuntu at EC2 dash and then this entire huge name. If you want to get that information, remember to head back here to EC2, click Instances, and then copy the public IPv4 DNS. Great, we've copied it. We're going to now SSH. We're going to go into our downloads folder because it's where we actually originally downloaded that PEM. Let's find test VM key pair. There we go. And then we're going to do Ubuntu at, since the root will be called Ubuntu, we're going to be signing in. We're going to say yes. Oop, we got to change the permissions. So keep in mind that this may happen to you. We're going to do the exact same command, but we're going to chmod the key first. There we go. All right, let's try to sign in again. Perfect. There we go. We've signed in. As you can see, we're in the Welcome to Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. We have just shy of 45 gigabytes. Let's check our IP address. All right, you can see that this is actually our private IP address here. And to verify this, we can again just check here. We can actually see that our private IPv4 address within the AWS network is this. So just keep in mind that this will be the physical IP address that people will access when it comes to accessing the Capture the Flag website. We're going to use this IP address a lot, so just keep in mind. This IP address, not so much. So just keep this in mind. That's why we put in and allocated that elastic IP address, because that essentially tells AWS do not use this IP address for anyone else. Only use it for this instance right here that we've allocated for it. So hopefully you've been able to fully set up to this point, and you're able to get to the just main Ubuntu account, which is just root or has sudo permissions. I highly recommend changing a password at this point. Anything that you need to help you develop. So for now, I'm going to follow the actual guide here on the left. This AWS page you won't need for a little while. If you need, you're going to need this IPv4 address, and I'll show you again at the appendix any links or anything that you need in regards to this video for actually installing your tools, Docker images, what have you. Okay, great. So we have our EC2 software set up. Sorry about that. There we go. We're going to clear this first of all. Ubuntu has the APK package manager, so we're going to do this. Oh, excuse me. I'm used to Alpine. There we go. Oh, is Docker not on? Let's make sure. I'm just going to make sure. So I'm checking the Docker link, the Docker website. So what I'm going to do is just copy the apt repository link. There we go. So what I did there, I went to the Docker kind of just installation page, Docker engine on Ubuntu. I just looked up Docker apt install. There we go. Seems like it's done so far. And now I'm just going to run what they recommend. There we go. And so also for just some living kind of quality of life, I'm just going to create the Docker group if it doesn't already exist. Okay, it already does exist. And just make myself one of the users that can use it because I would have to use sudo all the time, which is kind of annoying. Great. I'm also going to install fish. Oh, whoops. Which is just another kind of shell that you can use just to make the coloring a little bit better. And then also going to install NeoVim if this still works. There we go. Okay. And so I'm gonna change my .bash rc, which is just to kind of set up your own kind of bash environment when you first sign in. So I'm just going to type in fish to start the fish shell. I'm going to exit from this client. I'm going to sign right back in, and now I should have fish. Type help for instructions on how to use fish. We don't need to do that. We're good. Okay. We're going to make sure that we have Docker Compose. Oops, sorry about that. There we go. Let's make sure we have Python 3. Oop, if I can spell. All right, we already have Python 3, 3.12.3. We're going to make sure that we have pip3 or pip. Let's make sure. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, it's Python 3-pip. Okay, that's what the package is. clear that. We have NeoVim, so we don't really need another text editor. This is just more for quality of life. I also highly suggest getting Tmux. Yep, we already have Tmux. Actually, while we're at it, I'll just write it. Let's make sure we have gzip. We have zip. Oh, we don't. There we go. Yes. All right, we have everything that we need. So, if you want to learn on the next CTFd setup, check the next chapter. But for right now, we've shown that we have a full EC2 instance. You should be able to access Ubuntu as normal from your onto your EC2 instance from SSH from your host computer. You should have Docker, Docker Compose, Python 3, pip 3, anything else that you really need for this machine.
Hello, and so we're going to now do the CTFd setup. So hopefully you've done the EC2 software setup and the cloud setup because you need all of that prior to getting to this point. And there are some requirements and assumptions that will tell you exactly what point you're supposed to be at. So first, let's get out of this. We're going to make sure that we have that actual tmux session. Create that new tmux session, and then we're going to start and run the CTFd instance, which is the physical platform that we're going to be using to host the CTF. Run is essentially running and creating a new Docker container from an image. So we're just going to execute the command. We're going to run it on port 80, which is just the traditional HTTP port. So as you can see, it's loading right now. It's going to begin the actual system. Okay, and if you remember, I'm going to pull up the AWS window. And if you remember your instance, you want to go to your instance, to that instance ID, and it'll tell you that public IPv4 address. And so if we just type it in right there, it should pop up. Yep, there we go. So one major thing, just to let you know, is that this is not an HTTPS website. This is just a basic HTTP website. So do not put any actual personal information, user, student information at all. You can set this up later. That's kind of out of scope for this video. But there are plenty of tutorials out there on how to add a certificate to an EC2 instance and how to do that to make sure that you eventually have this connection is secure or this like lock button that you often see on browsers. So we're just going to call this a CTF test. Welcome to the CTF. Let me put this window away. We'll come back to that. And then this is essentially how you actually start the CTF. I'm just going to go through some of the document, just how to edit the pages, how to actually edit the challenges. So right now, we're going to use a team mode, which ensures that every person has to join a team or create a team. So if someone wants to play solo, they will just have to create a team that just has them in it. Um, we can switch the challenge visibility, and if you don't understand what this all means, is I highly encourage just setting up the website on your own, playing it with on your own. Just do whatever you want with it. And then since it's Docker, you could very easily just tear it down and build it back up. So we don't have to verify emails because again, I wouldn't recommend any actual emails in this website. Again, these are all tests also, like just test accounts. So like test at test.com and then like 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that you can actually add like different icons. Like there's, well, let me put the riddle one, put the ICO. Oh no, it has to be PNG, small icon. Oh, okay, interesting. So I'll just do that. Let's put the actual Ember Riddle seal. There we go. Yes, that's okay. You can select the theme, select the color. So I want blue. So the rest of the website will actually pop up and look blue. This is the start and end time of the CTF. All these settings, by the way, are completely changeable later on. So don't think that these are permanent. Um, you can always come back later and change these settings once you sign in as an administrator. So just confirm, test, test. There we go. This is just for their like kind of major league cyber integration. This is something built by CTFd, and I have not dealt with this personally, but I'm sure you can do something with that. Let's update that. There you go. All right, great. So right now we're on the actual platform. And so more often than not, let me sign out to the admin. This is what people will see when they come in. They'll be able to look into the users, see what team they're in. There's a scoreboard which will populate once people actually start doing the challenges. And it's essentially a big time graph, a line graph that shows how well people have done, what challenges have people done, the categories, the different point assignments, the challenges, which we will actually create one just so you can see. And so this is what it looks like from the administrator side. So you're just going to regularly log in. The system will realize you're an admin. Okay, we're going to go to the admin panel. This is where we can just see the general system statistics, how many people have solved it, just point breakdown, category breakdown, submission percentages, etc. You can send notifications to everyone. You can edit the physical like index page. You can create new HTML pages onto the website that will pop up on the bar here for the user. So you can create like FAQs or just really any new page that you want. As you can see, this is the actual index page that you see in the beginning. You can see the pages, or excuse me, you can see the users. You can create new users very easily, just manually, or they can even register themselves. I'm referring to the players themselves. You can also create new admin users, create new teams via this way, create teams, and users can have a specific team password too, so that only they have to give that team password to them, and then they can sign in via that way. You have your scoreboard here. You can see what type of scoreboard they have. You can toggle visibility for different teams and different scoreboards. Challenges. Okay, so let's create a challenge just for an example. You can also see the submission. Here we go. Sorry about that. There we go. Challenges. Let's create a challenge. Let's just create a standard challenge. And what that means is that there's a static standard amount for how many points you'll get for getting the actual challenge. Dynamic refers to, yeah, decreased values they receive solves. The more solves, the lower the value is. So it's a really good way to like have an initial challenge and everyone has to gun for it. And this is a really good way to kind of have that. So let's just say challenge, or let's just call it test challenge. There you go. Let's say it's a cryptography challenge. I am a crypto challenge. Say I have 100 points. Great. And then let's say test flag. And it can be case sensitive, it can be case insensitive. There's a way to also add like regex and stuff like that at the end. Um, and we can add a file to it. So let's just say, let's add the seal so you can see how it works. Okay. The challenge should be visible. Let's finish it. Okay, great. And so you can add different flags. You can have a different topic onto it, like just tags and topics. You can add hint. Let's say I am a hint. You can also make it so that it costs some points to see the hint for the team or for the individual. Some requirements. So it can be like, oh, I don't know. You can tell like the requirements for it, or you can anonymize it. You can tell what you can recommend what challenge to do next because you can actually do tiers. So like step one, download this, and then it'll unlock step two, three, and four, like something like that. You can specify links. You can really just adds so much. All of it's extremely manual. You can do whatever you want. So let's get out of this and we can see the actual challenge for ourselves as a user. There you go. And so that's exactly what it would look like. The user would just have to kind of log in with their team. Right now I just have it visible for anyone, just as an example. But you can click on it, look at it. You can see who solved it, what teams have solved it. You can view the hint, which is really, really cool, just like this. Got it. And then if you have any files that need downloading, let's say a virtual machine or just PCAP files, really anything, I would highly suggest not to make this too big, especially if it's like over a gig, because that'll slow down the download speed for everyone. Because reminder that this is a Docker container on a single computer. So if you have around 25, 30 people for the size of instance, it really slows down and comes to a chug. Um, just the entire website and like the downloading, it becomes very annoying. So for anything bigger than that, I'd highly suggest just using like Embry-Riddle's OneDrive system and just sharing that link so people can download it. It's much faster. So we can type in test flag. I don't know if it'll work, but oh yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah, so you'll have to see how to like register. So let's just create. Uh, there we go. Let's create a team. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Great, there we go. And then let's try this flag. And we should have gotten points. There we go. And there's the scoreboard. Very cool. Very fun. We can see our team. We can see who's in it. We can see what. Yep, there we go. Solve percentages, category breakdowns. Let's go over time. The solves, who solves stuff. We can check each individual user to see what they've done, how many times they failed, what categories they've done really well on, stuff like that. Yeah, so overall, if you need more information on how to do CTFD, the CTFD documentation is really, really good. And again, all of this will be in the actual PDF here on how to do deployment, settings, tutorials. It's really, really good. They explain basically everything you'd ever need on how to add pages, add new media, save CTFs. And just to show you, if you want to save your progress on Docker, because remember, this is a Docker container, so if you do shut it down, it'll erase all the work that you've done. So let's actually save all of the work that we've done on here using just common Docker commands. So got out of that tmux session. So we're going to do Docker PSA to make sure that that's still running. It's still running. And then we're going to do Docker commit container ID. And then we're just going to call it CTF test. There we go. And then we're going to do Docker images. And there you go, it's right there. And you can tell it is different from the original one because it's a little bit bigger because we added some files. Wait, let's check if that is still running. It is still running. And so remember, we can save. So we can save it to a specific file. We can just save it locally via commit. We can run it from a previous state from here, or we can even load it using this. These commands are really, really good. Okay, and then just, of course, to stop the container, we just do docker stop. There we go. And you've fully stopped, and we can check that the server has been actually shut down because it won't load anymore. Yep. Okay, great. So I highly encourage just going slow and just really going through all the steps. And if you do need help, my contact information is still up on here, along with Haskell Cappers. He was the one who also assisted me with setting up a lot of the CTFs and the physical challenges that were hosted. So thank you. Yeah, this has been Jeremiah Webb from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University.